All right, my beautiful people, what is truth? ZRGJ back here. We're going to pick up on the Gavin Long Manifesto story once again. The story is still moving forward in what they are presenting to us. And so again, propaganda is something that is legal for the United States government to lie to the American public. That is a law that was passed back in 2012. Gives the U.S. government has unbound the legal regulations against using propaganda on foreign audiences and American citizens. The intention is to sway public opinion, by using television, radio, newspapers, and social media targeting American and foreign people and controlled psyops, controlled psychological operations, staged events, scripted. Think Hollywood. They script a play, and then the actors play that part out. So controlled psyops. And the way that they do this, guys, and they get it out to the people is through national media. The big corporations, the CBS, the CNNs, the Foxes of the world. So let's pick up on this manifesto because it actually went mainstream. So yesterday we talked about the manifesto that was a handwritten letter that allegedly Gavin Long sent to an Ohio-based rapper an hour before he shot police in Baton Rouge, shot and killed 3 police. And so let's look at the highlights on CNN because now it's a mainstream story. And again, let's start here. So the rapper says Gavin Long emailed him manifesto shortly before Baton Rouge shooting. And Yarima Karama posts video online about email. Louisiana State Police are investigating. So here's what's interesting. That, what would you do? You got to ask yourself this question. You get an email. Let's just say, this happened at 8 o'clock. An email comes into your email and you get it, 7 o'clock. And you probably got a lot of emails. You never check it. You see everything happen on TV. And then a day later, you realize you got an email from this shooter. What are you going to do with that email? What are you actually going to do with that information? You got an email, you probably read it, and you're like, what is going on here? If you did receive it at that time. And so now you got to think, well, what's my next steps here? Are your next steps going to be you're going to post a video online about the email? You're going to tell all your followers about this email? What are going to be your next steps? Because again, we're talking about a criminal investigation. An investigation of a black man, an African American, a militant, supposedly, that killed some cops. So your first response, what you're going to do with this information that you have, is go online and post a video to your followers, do a YouTube video on it? I think not. That is not very wise. Who would recommend that you do something like that? Would any lawyer, would anybody tell you know what? I think you should go ahead and do a video and let your followers know you got this email from a deceased shooter who just killed 3 cops. We got to use our brains, guys. And all I'm challenging you to do is think. Now, I'm not saying that my thoughts are correct, and I'm not going to say that your thoughts are wrong. What I'm saying is, hey, I don't mind listening to your thoughts and listening to what it is that you believe, because guess what, guys? As we all think differently, that helps our mind to expand. But, but can you at least agree that this story is bizarre? Can you at least agree that this story is causing your curiosity to rise? Because I believe that if your curiosity is pricked, if your curiosity will cause you to actually search for truth. And a good old book tells us that seeking you shall find. So the reason why many of us are not finding truth is because we don't look for it. But we also understand that this law has been passed in 2012 that basically tells us that the media can lie to us, that the government can lie to us, that the government can set up controlled psyops, but we still won't believe that. Now, I'm not saying that no one died. When I say somebody asked me a question about hoax, when I say hoax, I'm not saying that nothing happened. It's a lot of cases where things have been hoax. I mean, do you think that 9/11 wasn't bizarre? Do you think that happened? Do you think that everything that you saw that they reported was real, was true? I think not. I mean, there's a lot of things, bizarre things that happen in our history that you can go back and look on and be like, okay, that was fake. But of course, you're probably not going to realize that until 30, 40 years later. And we're actually looking at things and realizing it right now. So let's go through this story. An updated story from the manifesto that is now mainstream. And my observation here, and I'm believing that we're going to see a live interviews from Yarima Karama and probably Dr. Boyce Watkins soon as well. I'd imagine in the next couple of days while the story is hot. But there's a reason why they've dragged this story on so long. They could have took this thing out the news by now. If you think about the, Austin Sterling, when's the last time you saw Cameron Sterling on TV? Think about, Philando Castile. When's the last time you saw Diamond on TV? See, they can drag the story on, or story along, or they can shut the story down. So you got to ask yourself, why is this story still going on almost 4 days later? Why did this just now hit the mainstream media when it was in the underground media a day ago or 2 days ago? And these are the kind of questions I start asking. So it's now going to mainstream because guess what? I believe because the Republican National Committee convention is going to be pretty much over after today. After the Trump does his speech, the highlight of that show will be over, and now be moving the sheep to steer into another direction and come back over here to this shooting that happened in Baton Rouge. Now, an Ohio-based rapper said he received an email from Gavin Long less than an hour before the gunman killed 3 law enforcement officers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Yarima Karama said in a video posted online that the email included images of a 3-page handwritten letter. The subject lines of the email was Manifesto. Now, isn't this interesting, guys, that it's an online, a handwritten letter was sent to him online that the email included images. So he sent, supposedly he received images of this handwritten letter. So you write this letter and then you take pictures of it and then you send it in an email to Yarima Karama. Now, I just find it odd that you're going to write this personal letter and you're going to send it to this rapper. You're about to go kill whoever you're about to do. You're about to go take the lives of some cops and you're going to send it to some rapper. I mean, guys, come on. Where is Gavin Long's family? Who is he connected to? Matter of fact, if you look at his Twitter account, he had this beautiful woman that he supposedly was dating. Where is she? You don't hear anything from who he's connected to from a blood relationship, but we're hearing things from people that he went to a school with, that he had some connection with from watching YouTube videos. Very, very bizarre. Doesn't that make you question some things? Like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. Hopefully none of you guys, do any violence. But if you were in this position and you're premeditating doing something crazy, you're going to write a letter, take pictures of this letter, and then send it to some rapper. Give me a break. This is real life Hollywood, guys. And nothing against Yarima Karama. He probably did receive some information. I don't think he received information an hour before this man passed away. I mean, I got a whole bunch of conspiracy theories about that, but I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories. What I'm saying is, does this make sense? And it doesn't have to be logically make sense, but just from a standpoint of, man, a guy that you don't even know, but knows you, randomly sends you, who happens to be, this rapper with a YouTube influence, going to send you an email with his suicide note, with his intentions of what he plans to do. This is all scripted, guys. This is all, a controlled psyop. And I think the controlled psyop got a little out of control, and they're bringing some people in to try and shore up the story that they're trying to present to the American public. Again, swaying public opinion. Now, the police say Long stalked Baton Rouge officers on Sunday before shooting 6 of them in an ambush, killing 3. Now, this part of the story has changed. If you remember from the beginning, they originally said that he was walking the highway of Airline Highway with an assault rifle, and someone called the police, and the police came out, and then he opened fire. Now they're saying that he was stalking police, that it was an ambush. The story has changed. Every day the story changes. This is how you know it's a lie. Not that people didn't die, not that there wasn't some tragedy that happened, but the story is what I question, not necessarily the ultimate actions or the events or what has happened, what has actually occurred since then. So Baton Rouge Police Officer Montrell Jackson, Matthew Gerald, and East Baton Rouge Sheriff's Deputy Grafal, and wounding 3 others. CNN is working to confirm the authenticity of the email with law enforcement. So we don't even know if this email that was received is authentic. But they're still putting it in the news. Matter of fact, Yarima Karama, before he did his video, he doesn't know whether the email is authentic because they're still trying to confirm whether it's authentic. And in the last video that I did, we found out that it's that this type of these pictures, they can easily be manipulated. But people are still believing that it's authentic. And that's the problem. So it's a criminal investigation going on. You're putting out information into the public, and it hasn't even been confirmed whether this information is authentic. But guess what? You're going to get public opinion to sway based off some information that may not even be authentic. So Louisiana State Police said it was the investigation letter and noted other writings were recovered in Baton Rouge, but could not confirm whether the shooter authored them. What? Baton Rouge will not confirm whether the shooter authored them. Karama told CNN that he received the letter at 9:04 a.m. Eastern time. Authorities say that it first received reports of the shooting about 40 minutes later. So 40 minutes went by. So 9 o'clock, this guy sends this email to Karama. I mean, guys, do you really believe this stuff? And then he started to do his shooting 40 minutes later. Now they're saying they received reports of him shooting. At beginning, when we get into the story, that's why I'm glad I did a lot of videos. They first said that they got a call saying that he was walking the streets with a rifle. This stuff continues to change because they want to manipulate public opinion to go with the story that they give them. And it's the ultimate story. It's not the story that you have each and every day, because many people are not going to read this stuff. They're not going to go and read it and be like, hold on a second, you said something else yesterday. It's going to take whatever they do in a video, whatever they give them in the video, and they say, okay, that's what happened. But how many people are really going in and looking at this stuff? I'm probably one of the few. So the so-called Manifesto, Karama says in the video, he did not personally know Long, but that the two of them had communicated. The rapper promotes himself online and people reach out to him that way. So he didn't even know Long. But for some reason, Long decided that Karama was, worthy enough to receive his manifesto, worthy enough to receive his letter, his last form of communication before he goes off into the sunset like the Lone Ranger and shoots up some cops. Real life Hollywood, guys. You guys believe this stuff. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I've proven here that it's okay, it's legal for the government to lie to you. I've proven we've explained why they would lie to you, and that's to sway public opinion. We've also said how they would do that by doing controlled psyops, scripted, staged events. But guess what, guys? We love our media so much. We love our government so much that we don't believe, no matter the evidence, no matter the laws that have been passed in this land, we don't believe that they will lie to us. And they're sitting there telling us that it's legal for them to do it. Now, he would not provide CNN a copy of the letter. Karama sent one page to the letter to BuzzFeed, and he also read from the letter in his YouTube video. Manifesto was open is largely copied from Christopher Dorner, the former police officer who went on a shooting spree in Southern California in 2013. Wow, so now that gives us another person to look up, Christopher Dorner. So I didn't realize that the manifesto was copied from Christopher Dorner. I guess we need to look that up. Much of the document is concerned with police corruption. And I would say something, right? So if the letter was scripted, if the letter was not written by Karama, by Long or Cosmo, but it was written by whoever's the director of this controlled psyop, then it could easily have been something that was written and plagiarized. Look at that. We just had a plagiarism on Monday in the Republican National Committee. This very well could be something that was plagiarized from Christopher Dorner and to give us the illusion that Gavin Long wrote this. See, we're not asking these questions like, have we seen anything else that he's written and compared to the script? No, we haven't. We're just going with the story that they give us because that's the only story that we can go with. And I challenge you to think. I challenge you to ask questions. I challenge you to tap into your childlike consciousness and just keep asking questions until you get to a form of truth. And that's hard to do, guys, because we're so busy. We want to just move on with life. But they're linking things for us to Christopher Dorner. It was largely copied. It's telling us. It's telling us that it was largely copied from Christopher Dorner, but we're not going to say, you know what, that was probably a Christopher Dorner manifesto or from Christopher, whatever he did. That makes us go and look up Christopher Dorner, and then we could compare what was written to what was said in Christopher Dorner. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, because guess what? No one else is going to do it. But they're telling us what happens, guys, is that you can't hide truth. And so when I say they, I'm talking about the establishment. I'm talking about the government that is, all of the alphabet soups of the world, the Fed, the CIA, all of that stuff. They literally will put something in front of our face and laugh at us because we won't believe it. The manifesto's opening is largely copied from Christopher Dorner. He's telling us in the story where it comes from. But we'll still believe that without even looking, without even doing our research, that it's Gavin Long's. It could very well be all copied from Christopher Dorner. It could be a mix of the two. Now, much of the document is concerned with police corruption and what the writer sees as the system's failure to prosecute bad cops. The writer calls the shooting spree a necessary evil that I do not wish to partake in, nor do I enjoy partaking in, but must partake in order to create substantial change within America's police force and judicial system. The writer also uses a substantial portion of the letter to praise law enforcement, the majority of which he says is good, and lists the obstacles police face when trying to do the right thing and turn in corrupt cops. In the letters in, he salutes a handful of cops nationally known for exposing police wrongdoing, including former Seattle Police Chief Norm Stamper and Officer Billy Ray Fields. Long claimed to suffer from PTSD. So as I say, Long, 29-year-old man from Kansas City, Missouri, told friends and relatives that he had suffered post-traumatic stress syndrome. Source involved in the investigation told CNN's Cruz Cuomo. All right, so if you can get friends and relatives to tell you about, his post-traumatic syndrome, well, why don't we have friends and relatives, doing an interview? Why don't we have anything else from these friends and relatives? But we got Long sending an email, a personal email, his manifesto to Karama. He clearly has some friends and relatives that you are aware of. As a matter of fact, Long, on one of his videos, he says that he doesn't have post-traumatic syndrome. But of course, we're going to believe the story that they put in front of us. No matter what it is, we are going to believe it. He joined the Marine Corps in 2005, worked as a data network specialist and served in Iraq before being discharged as a sergeant. He was a sergeant in 2010. During his 5 years in the Marine Corps, Long served in Iraq from 2008 to 2009 and also spent some time in California and Japan. He received a handful of awards, including Marine Corps Good Conduct Medal. This guy was a good guy, according to the Marine Corps. Long had filled a prescription. They say he was on some pills, but he wasn't necessarily diagnosed with PTSD. It tells us what PTSD is. And they talk about the website that he has now. Now, one of his websites has been taken down by YouTube. It says last post was on July 10th, which says he filmed from Dallas. So he was actually at Dallas when the shooting took place from Micah Johnson. So he has a connection to Micah Johnson. Without mentioning Micah Johnson typing in Dallas by name, he questions why some violent actions are perceived as criminal while others are celebrated. All right, so and then the attack that took place. They connect them to the Alton Sterling, connect them to the Minnesota Philando Castile, and they connect them to the Micah Johnson shooting in Dallas. So guys, again, I just want to do a quick update here. This is now mainstream. It's now CNN. It's now national news. So I'm expecting to get some interviews from this Ohio rapper, Yarima Karama. Also, there was an email that went to Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm expecting to get an interview, maybe from both of them at the same time. Either one or both. I'm expecting that in the next couple of days because the Republican National Convention will be died down after tonight, and we'll need some news to keep up the ratings here for, as we see Trump talking, to keep up the ratings as we get through the weekend. So we need some weekend news from a rating standpoint so that the CNNs, the Fox of the world, whoever that may be, they can continue to bring in the dough as they continue to bring us propaganda. All I ask, guys, that you think it's going to be curiosity that's going to lead you to truth. And so as you listen to that little voice inside of you, that childlike consciousness, it'll bring forth curiosity. And as you bring forth curiosity, it's going to prompt you to start seeking. And as you seek, you will find. And once you find truth, guys, it's the truth that'll set you free.